All right, on today's podcast, it is loaded today. Today, what we're going to be talking about is, first of all, Pitbull put out a video that we will be discussing, telling you that communism is coming to America. The second thing we'll be talking about is this whole impeachment fucking clown show that they're putting together. They showed an awesome video. Third thing we're going to talk about, the metals, which silver and gold. Apparently, they can't get their hands on silver and gold right now. The major companies who sell the metals. And then lastly, in the gun corner, a new gun bill is being pushed to protect us and to make the federal government basically not be able to use federal funds to smash your rights. So check this out here at the Hot OTM Podcast. Transmitting from sunny Southern California, capital of entertainment, beautiful ladies, and great whiskey. You're listening to the Hot OTM Podcast, where we discuss politics, guns, entertainment, music, and all the controversial topics we can find. Here are your hosts, Hector Robles and Christian Mejia.
My family comes from communism. They fled communism. They had everything taken away from them. Everybody got murdered. Everybody got killed. And that's the reason me, being a first-generation Cuban-American, or maybe us, being first-generation Cuban-Americans, I look at freedom and I appreciate that shit. I appreciate opportunity. I appreciate anything that you give me. All I need is a little slip, partner, and I got you. And
all right, guys, I saw this video online. I have to talk about this. What is it? Pitbull. Pitbull knows what is up. He came out with this video and he's talking about how his family fled from Cuba and he fled communism, and that he sees it, he's smelling it in what's happening right now in America. So we're not crazy, man. This is somebody who fled from communism, and he sees it as well. So that's, to me, it was super impressive. And in this interview, something else that he does is he goes in deep and he talks about how before the pandemic, there was actually a bunch of CEOs that were quitting from Disney, Hulu, Microsoft. And I remember that, but I found it like super weird. Like, why are all these guys leaving these companies? Apparently, it was the setup towards this pandemic situation. And man, it's an amazing video. We'll put some links on here so you guys can check it out. But I'm telling you, I'm just impressed that some of these celebrities like himself, Gina Carano, and all of these different celebrities they're actually not giving a fuck about cancel culture anymore. So it's kind of interesting. I just wanted to bring this up. Another thing that he talked about inside that video was about apparently John Hopkins University, along with the Melinda Gates Foundation, or the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, they also did a test run in 2019. And in this test run, they were discussing how and what they would do in a pandemic. And apparently every point that they were talking about is exactly what they're doing to us right now. So it's to me, it was just amazing to know that, we're not crazy. People who have fled communism are telling us, if we keep on going down this road, communism is in our future. And I'm telling you, I think we've gone past the point of no return, and we need to, at this point, talk about it. It needs to be talked about to expose this whole situation. And it's great that people like Pitbull are finally, speaking up and speaking out, to really bring this issue to life. So that was one of the biggest bombshells that I was just in total shock. I was like, oh my God, Pitbull's on our side. So the side of truth. So, definitely I was very, very impressed. I would recommend that you check out that whole interview. It's phenomenal. Second another second point here. I'm sure that all of you guys have seen these impeachment trial situations with them trying to impeach Trump. You know, I always found that a little weird. I was thinking about, like, if I quit my job and I put in my 2 weeks and I leave my job, how the fuck is your employer going to say, hey, we're having a debate if we should fire him? I no longer work for your fucking company, man. Why are you doing this? And the reason is because they don't want him to get hired again. That's the real reason. But to me, it's fucking retarded, man. Like, the guy no longer is the president. You can't impeach somebody. How are you going to fire somebody who's not working for you anymore? So anyway, that was another interesting situation that if you did see the trial that's going on, there was some very compelling evidence that the Trump lawyers brought in, and the double standard of how the left can say and instigate all kinds of horrible things, and they're not called out on it. But then if somebody from the right says something that they don't like, all of a sudden it's a coup. It's, it's murder. It's fucking somebody eating babies and shit. So I thought it's fucking ridiculous, man. But they presented a video in, while they were kind of talking the Trump defense, and the video just shows like all of these politicians just saying, we need to go out there and fight, and we need to rise up and make them hear us, and I mean basically instigating shit. But it's okay for them to instigate and tell people to not let politicians eat, and you have to get up in their faces. What was more impressive to me that these people were doing and nobody said shit were two celebrities in that video. One of them was Johnny Depp. Johnny Depp. Anyway, and I like some of his movies, to be honest with you, but I mean, obviously he's the total douchebag. He was saying that when was the last time an actor killed the president? And I'm like, man, you could say that shit, but Trump says, let's go march peacefully. And that is horrible. But somebody like Johnny Depp saying that when was the last time an actor killed the president, that's perfectly fine. That's not a problem. The second actor that I was just in total shock with was Madonna. I know, that fucking old lady who won't fucking die yet. This bitch was up on stage and was saying,
yes, I have thought an awful lot about blowing up the White House.
What'd she say? I think she said something about her wanting to blow up the White House. I'm like, so you as an actor can say, I've thought many times about blowing up the White House, and that's perfectly fine. She doesn't get called out on it. But Trump fucking farts, and all of a sudden, he's killing fucking molecules on a chair, and he's a horrible person. So the whole double standard, I think we all see this shit. It's starting to get really fucking old, and Trump is just trying to fucking go into the sunset, and they won't even let him do that. These guys, I mean, all I can say, it's the fucking establishment. The swamp people are coming out, and these motherfuckers will not let it go. It's fucking ridiculous. That's all I have to say on that point. All right, moving on to some more news or information per se. In regards to Biden, something else that I just saw in the news as well was that he is stopping the abolishment of TikTok and WeChat, which I was like, what the fuck? What's going on? These two companies are literally based out of China, and they're collecting data. I mean, basically the Chinese government, by law, if they request information from any Chinese company, by law, they have to give it to them. So at this point, these two companies, TikTok and WeChat, are based out of China. They're collecting your information. If you think that they're not doing biometrics, checking your fucking face recognition, and getting data from you, data points, you're fucking crazy, because they are. Well, anyway, the Chinese government is obtaining all that data. So obviously, Trump said that it was national security to not allow them, to work here in America, because they're collecting data from all Americans. And now Biden comes along, fucking Chinese Biden. Everyone's like, oh, no, he's for America. He's for the people. Fucking bullshit. Now he's showing his true colors, how he's letting Chinese companies fucking do whatever the fuck they want so they can get all of their data that they need to collect. Did you guys remember when they said that they're not going to raise taxes only on the rich? Guess what? Well, taxes just are now, they're admitting that they're going to have to raise taxes on all of us so they can get the whole new Green Deal passed through. So, hooray to all those motherfuckers who voted for this guy and said, they're only taxing the rich people. The stupidity is fucking unbelievable. But just wanted to mention that. All right, moving on to something else. There's so much news and so many things I want to talk about. The next thing is silver. Silver's fucking blowing up. Like, everyone's talking about this whole the Wall Street bets thing. This has nothing to do with Wall Street bets. The silver market, the physical silver market, is blowing up. You cannot find any regularly priced silver now, which is crazy, because a month ago you could pick up silver and it wasn't a problem. Now I was watching these interviews with the gentleman was from Miles Davis, I believe, Silver. I think they're based out of Chicago. And the CEO was talking about how he can't fucking source the silver, the 1,000-ounce bars. And when he is able to source it, the vendors are telling him that he can't resell it to other vendors, that it has to stay just with his company. And he was just explaining on how difficult it is to source this silver. And at the same time, silver's dropping. So you're like, well, how is that possible? I'll tell you how it's possible. There's two different markets. There's the paper market that's run by JP Morgan Chase. And then there's the physical market where you and I can go and buy silver. And what's happening is a lot of people are going out and buying silver because they're smelling the fucking blood in the water. With all this printing that's going on, they're realizing that they're devaluating our money. So they see this whole Venezuela situation and they're listening to Pitbull talk about it, how communism is coming. So apparently people are listening and they are preparing. They must have heard one of my first podcasts where I was mentioning to buy silver and gold. So I'm going to give myself credit on that. But anyway, I just found that it was very interesting that even the CEOs of these silver companies or these metal companies are explaining how difficult it is to source the metal at this point. At this point, I'm probably I'm going balls out on my investments with silver and gold as well. Now we're going into our gun corner. We're moving fast today. With this gun corner, there's a new bill being introduced. Let me go ahead and pull up my notes on this one because this is like breaking news. Literally, it was on Thursday that this bill was introduced. Let me go ahead and pull this up real quick. Here we go. So the new bill was introduced this week, February 11th, 2021, by Marjorie Taylor Greene, a member of the House of Representatives in Georgia. The bill's called SAPA, S-A-P-A, so it's a Second Amendment Prevention Act, and it eliminates federal funding for gun control. So the cool thing is that the cool thing is that they've been using our own money against us. So now this federal bill is going to stop that. Another funny thing I did see is I'm like, who is this lady, this congresswoman, or not congressman, representative from the House of Representatives? And I was trying to figure out who she was. So I went to Wikipedia and I'm looking her up. And man, has Wikipedia become a fucking cesspool of shit at this point. I remember when they used to beg for my fucking money so they could, build the community. I never actually donated. I'm not going to say that I did, but it was fucking, I had to deal with the annoying bullshit of them begging for money. And now all of a sudden, these pieces of shits in the bio, it's basically them talking shit, calling her a conspiracy theorist, and like she's, it's not a bio. It's basically them talking shit on this person, which I found kind of shocking, because if you try to put anything up on Wikipedia, they fucking fact check your ass all the time. But now all of a sudden, it's their agenda with the left and the fucking media, and they'll basically talk shit on anybody. It's no longer a source of real information. You have to take everything with a grain of salt. And what's interesting is that news companies are using Wikipedia as like a resource and saying, this is what Wikipedia says. But I remember when I was in fucking high school back in the day, and they wouldn't let you use Wikipedia as a source for anything. They're like, that's fucking people putting shit together. That's not real fucking, that's not real information. But now all of a sudden the news channels and everyone can use that shit for real, correct information. Anyway, fuck Wikipedia. That's the first thing I got to say. Fuck you. Yeah. And you know what? I think they're probably tracking me. So if you're watching me, Wikipedia, fuck you. Okay? You're the fuck you person of this episode, Wikipedia. All right. So in this whole gun control bill, man, there's so much negative stuff all the time about guns and how they're trying to push it. And so it's really refreshing to be able to see that somebody, especially from Georgia, that was nice, that somebody's on our side. Somebody loves freedom and somebody loves liberty. So thank you so much to this lady for introducing that bill. America loves you and thanks you. The second part of our gun corner today, I'd like to talk about in the same realm of how they manage this narrative. They make all of us believe that the only people who like guns are white hillbillies. That's it. And it's like, you guys fucking stupid? Come on, man. Freedom-loving people love guns. And it's just like, let me see. It's like a fucking knife, man. You could use a knife to kill somebody, and you could use a knife to cut your food and feed yourself. So to me, gun control isn't necessarily just about guns. Gun control has to do with who is using these guns. And it's very refreshing to have a representative fighting for our rights. So she probably hasn't subscribed to our channel quite yet, but when she does get to our channel, I want to say thank you very much. A second issue, or not even an issue, something that happened. There are two gentlemen that just opened up a channel, and this channel is called, let me go ahead and pull up my notes here. Here we go. It's called Guns Out TV. And they quoted something that was very impressive. They said, in 2020, Black Americans accounted for the highest increase in gun sales of any demographic, which I was like, holy shit. I mean, that's pretty crazy. I mean, they're a large demographic that's starting to get into guns. So they wanted to make a show with African Americans to have a positive spin on, guns and educational. And apparently their main company that had that they were going to go live on TV with this show, Guns Out TV. Apparently, they canceled them. They didn't give him any explanation, and they just said, no, the first episode, it's not going to air. This is not going to air. And they are showing the positive. They're showing black people in a positive light, and all of a sudden TV won't show it. And I'm like, man, and they have a fucking great show. I would suggest you check them out on YouTube. I was very, very impressed, to be honest with you. But it's this whole narrative that they try to push, this whole, guns are bad, look at all these white terrorists, when it's like, no, man, there's black people, there's brown people. I mean, there's all colors and everyone who loves freedom. And this show was a perfect example of them not letting it get any traction. But fuck them. You and I can go onto YouTube. We can go to their show and support them. I'm sure they have some sort of merchandise. Buy their merchandise. Make sure you support this type of shows, or these types of shows, because this is our freedom we're talking about. And on top of it, they have great content. There's an episode with AR. I think it's an AR-15 episode that they were putting out, and it's just, they have great content. So I just wanted to bring that up, how they're still managing to attack the community, and but fuck them. We're going to go out there and we're going to subscribe. Come on, guys. I ask you to subscribe. I ask you to check them out. And these are educational sources that are bringing positive light to guns and gun culture. So that's pretty much all I have for today. Thank you so much for joining us. And today, as you can see, it's only myself, and Christian has gone on vacation. So I don't know, we might see him next week, maybe next month. We're not sure, but we want to wish Christian the best in his new endeavors. I think he's working for CBS now. But we want to thank him for all the hard work he does on this show. I want to thank you guys for tuning in, and we will catch you next week. You guys have a good night. Thank you for joining us today. If you enjoyed the podcast, please rate, subscribe, and share. If you would like to donate, please join us on Subscribestar. Thank you again from all of us here at the OTM Podcast, and you have a great night.